Okay, I've been kind of rumbling through my head trying to figure out why Democrats are blaming, uh, you know, lawful gun owners for killing children, yet they're pro-abortion. And I know back in the, I don't know, it was 70s, early 70s, there was some Democrats that got together and was pro killing school children to get the agenda of the Second Amendment taken down. So they could ban weapons, and they thought, if they thought, well, how could we get the American public to agree with us? And it was to end up killing their children. So it's a Democrat problem. I mean, they're killing embryos. They practically voted to kill them as they were born. So yeah, they've accepted that, and I don't think. And being that it's an infringed, they're infringing the rights of the American people. They're wrong all the way around the block, and people that are sick in the head are thinking, well, how can I help Democrats? It doesn't matter if they're Republican or not. It, they're going to go with whatever's going to back their stupidity. Speaking of stupidity, every time I see the vice president speak, I wonder why she's ever got elected to office. I mean, I've never heard her speak intelligently yet. She interrupts. She's like somebody that has no control over themselves. And I wouldn't say that that's, there's people that are just stupid as hell that say, well, that's other people controlling me. But they're like, what they're doing is they're completely stupid as hell. In fact, I think she's retarded. I don't think it's diagnosable. I think it's just variable. And I was like, well, that would make all these people that other people say, well, you can't call her that because these people. I don't think people that have a. I realize that there's signal people that can't control, like kids that they call mental health. I don't think that's mental health. I think that's signal processing. I bet their brain's okay, but they can't get. There's somewhere along the line the signal's been interrupted and they can't get it to their body. And that was affected in the embryo. And I think with this balloon passing over, there was a signal. It was a signal interrupt balloon. So that's basically proving that China is in the breeding. They hate the U.S. along with the Middle East. Iran hates the U.S. So they're all part of the signal interrupt. So basically all these kids that are born with these problems of not being able to control themselves and stuff like that, that's got to be China and the Middle East interrupting trying to mess with people being born here in the U.S. So that's not doctors will say, well, that's a physical problem, and we've found the reason for that is okay. Well, how do you know that they aren't interrupting? Say whatever the flow is that the doctors say is a problem. How do you know that they aren't interrupting the flow? I know you think, well, this is impossible. You can't interrupt. Yeah, you can. It happens all the time. It's been happening ever since I've been alive, and I've been saying about it, but nobody pays attention, and it continues to happen because people think, well, we got to believe what doctors say about that. No, okay. I think the VP is undiagnosable retardation, and that word means exactly what it means. Is she's probably self-inflicted retardation, doing if she says she's done drugs, I think it's self-inflicted retardation is what she is. And it's just stuck. She can't get rid of that. Maybe she just enjoyed being stupid as hell. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And that and the Democrats are the ones that and that where's that lady that tweeted something about Joe Biden. It's his fault that kids were taken out of school. Well, so I can't remember what it was, and there was and all these liberals are jumping on Twitter. I'm off Twitter because they kicked me off, and I'm not going back. But they're all jumping on her about saying, "Oh, Joe Biden was president." No, but the Democrats almost completely were like China. In fact, that's another thing. I think the Democrats. I mean, basically, they're controlled by China. I don't think they have anything to do with this country anymore. I think if China, they're trying to help China take over by de-weaponizing the American public, so it'll be easier for China to flow in and take control. Because they can, if they wanted to, they could get a war going, get the U.S. to get most of their weaponry devoted to a wartime, get it just like they did in Ukraine, where in one day Russia pulled out. Luckily, they didn't pull out and just drop a nuke, because I'm guessing that's what that was probably a practice run of how to pull out if the U.S. tries to go in and save Ukraine or Taiwan, or they got two places that they could they'd put their military. They're thinking, because these communists, they've been around for a couple thousand years. Not communists, but China's been around for a couple thousand years. But it hasn't been a free, it hasn't been a free country. It's been imperialized and everything else. And so they kind of know how to plan stuff. They do all. There's a lot of these countries that do these 1,000-year plans, and they work it like that. But as far as putting our military towards a war with a superpower that has nuclear, and the way that Putin pulled out nuclear power, and the way Putin pulled out of Ukraine quickly overnight, is an assumption by me that is what is planned. Is they're going to try to get us to devote as much of our military as we can to possibly Ukraine and Taiwan, but they're saying 2027 and trying to take over 2027 Taiwan. So they're trying to devote the U.S. military, so we'll have all our troops there and all our weaponry there. Well, not all of it. Of course, there's some here, but would it be enough to stop a Russian-China invasion of the U.S.? And can all these other countries, like NATO, can they, if we were invaded after they would nuke, because you can see that they don't care about women or children in Ukraine, because they're bombing schools, they're bombing all these hospitals and stuff, and killing women and children. They don't care, elderly, whatever it is. And so that if our military was in there, they'd pull out overnight. They would pull out their people. And they might not even care if they get people in there that aren't military. They get our military in there and they nuke them. And that's what they want. China wants with Taiwan, is get our military in there so they can draw out overnight and then nuke the military, and then they could sweep from the east side of the Chinese border and sweep across the Pacific Ocean, which would be the quickest way, landing in California, probably Mexico, because Mexico probably let them in. They let every other country in without any hassle. So, yeah, I think Democrats are, of course, the loyalists to Britain, and they don't care how to destroy this free country. They just want it destroyed, and they're doing any way they can.